okay, not as hot. And then last night it rained, so it kind of it calmed the temperature, because the way weather hot these days, and then no electricity. Biko, I beg you in the name of God. Lagos State, I beg, Ikeja distribution, please. Echo distribution, Ikeja distribution, please give us light. Or you make an announcement. Tell us precisely how you're going about the distribution of electricity. Are you now doing what you call load shedding? Are you sharing it? That is from one community to another. You feel like 2 days off, 1 day on. Let's know. We understand that you people have complained that your facilities are stretched and overwhelmed. So we understand, but just keep us in the know, because this no electricity is not funny, not in this kind of weather. People can't do anything, and the weather is hot. It's really hot. So please, I beg you, you guys should give us electricity. I think if we pay for it, we should be given. Some people pay estimated bills, no lights. You have your prepaid meter, no electricity. No, now it's not at this level of our democracy. It's not meant to be like that. My name is Esther Nwachuku, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I sincerely am actually quite excited to be with you in the studio. It's at VOP 903 FM. The Political Spotlight is where we get to look at topical, trending political issues across Nigeria's social, economic, and political landscape. And obviously, when we look into these issues, we usually try to divest it intellectually and logically, look into it, have a proper comprehension of these issues, and we get your reaction and recommendations. Most times we have an in-house analyst who gives us their own perspective to these issues, or how they summarize or interpret what these topics or issues are all about. And then obviously you always call in, you always critique, you lend your own voice, you give us your own line of thoughts. But right here on VOP 90.3 FM is where we give you all the information required of you. Beyond that, we'll help you properly comprehend. We don't want you to get involved in barman conversation or talks that do not really have any form of logical reasoning. We'll help you logically reason all of these political anomalies in Nigeria. And I must tell you the truth, it's a time for us to embrace our democracy and look at how we can fix it. It has gotten so strained, all right? It has gotten so strained, and it's disturbing. And I do hope that the governors, the ministers, the senators decide to take an emergency on our democracy and work on it. It's very, very vital, because at this point in time, the only things Nigerians can do is to work together. And if we don't have anywhere to go, we can only protect this country. We cannot afford to have certain persons, certain political bureaucrats be the ones to do anyhow and act anyhow they like, where the law would not apply to them, but the law would apply to us. Persons are dying, people are suffering, and we're not hearing anything from the administration, especially those at the executive. The state governors should really look into how they can help alleviate the problem that a lot of Nigerians are going through. It is quite efficient and prominent at this time. It should be their priority. Well, there was a gas explosion today in Rivers State at the it was just barely a week, as you know, after a major explosion on the Trans-Niger pipeline in Bodo Gokana local government area of Rivers State. And another blast occurred this time at the Soku oil facility in Akuku Toru local government area. VOP understands that the explosion has further heightened concerns over the security of oil infrastructure in the region. The latest explosion was confirmed by the Youth and Environmental Advocacy Center. It was reported earlier on today. The grassroots NGO, with a strong presence in the Niger Delta, disclosed that its youth volunteers had alerted the organization about the early morning blast at the Soku oil facility operated by Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas Limited. And in a statement signed by the executive director, Fineface Dumanime, he revealed that an explosion accompanied by fireballs was heard and seen rising from the facility. So investigation has commenced, but speculation surrounds the cause of the explosion, which could be possible causes mentioned include equipment failure, sabotage, or a deliberate attack. Now, this marks a third of such an incident in that particular region of the country within a week, which has raised serious concerns about the state's oil infrastructure security. The first explosion occurred in Ogoni, followed in Oga Egbema Ndoni local government area. These incidents were referenced by the president in his nationwide broadcast on Tuesday, where he declared a 6-month state of emergency in Rivers State, partly due to the repeated attacks on the region's oil infrastructure. Now, the question a lot of Nigerians will ask is this time around, Fubara has been suspended, right? it is now Ibok Eta Ibas that is now there as the sole administrator. So would the president blame Fubara or his loyalists for the explosion that occurred today? Investigations are ongoing. It could be a facilities disruption. But with how consistent it's too close to the previous incidents. So would you call it sabotage? Will you call it a deliberate attack? How will the presidency describe this, being the fact that Rivers is under a state of emergency? The governor and the House of Rep members, they've all been suspended. So right now you have only one sole administrator with 10,000 troops of Nigerian army personnel conscripted to that region. Suppose that's basically what the story said, 10,000 troops. So where and how did this happen? What could have allowed this to transpire? What other motive could be behind this? Because the Senate told us, while they decided unanimously through a voice vote, which a couple of persons feel was unconstitutional, that they intend to ensure that Fubara is recalled before the 6 months elapses. This time around, they intend to ensure that all the parties involved that is causing the political tension in the state, they will come to a round table, have a dialogue and discuss and work things out. But at this point in time that the governor is not in the state, who is causing this? And would you call it a facility situation all of a sudden? The areas, there's some pockets of regions in the area are beginning to have facility disruption or coincidental or accidental issues. Well, it begs the question. Again, the presidency, because a lot of persons have been calling out the president and saying that what he performed was a rape on our democracy, and they said it was a constitutional sabotage. But the presidency has again justified just today the reason why he suspended Fubara. The presidency strongly rejected claims that President Bola Tinubu's suspension of Governor Fubara and other political figures in Rivers State was a power grab. He insisted instead that the president acted decisively to prevent the state from descending into anarchy. So now that the president has done that, with what happened right now, although investigation is ongoing, because in the case, the 2 weeks ago when that one happened, it was barely 24 hours. And did the conspiracy, could it even be that possibly some elements, all right, of the reigning party deliberately did that so that they foresaw that there will be a state of emergency that will be called for? You did not investigate all of this. You now declared a state of emergency. Now that already the state is under emergency and another explosion has taken place, wouldn't you now follow due diligence to investigate properly if indeed it was just an accidental disruption of the facility, or it was just an equipment breakdown, or it was sabotage or a deliberate attack? Maybe you will take time now to now investigate the cause of that, isn't it? So why wasn't that kind of patience applied the first time? Because of the governor's broadcast, he just alluded it to be that it was a deliberate attack. Well, let's see. That's why a lot of persons are complaining and, giving dissenting and critiquing the method with which the president handled this. In the course of the conversation, anyways, I would like us to listen to former President Goodluck Jonathan. He has obviously reacted to the situation on ground in Rivers State, and Shoyinka as well has also reacted. We also have Omoyele Sowore, as usual, vituperating, expressingly giving his own remarks, which a couple of persons may say is quite condescending, but he's very brutal when it comes to how he tends to talk about issues that involves Nigeria as a whole. So these are the things that we actually want to listen to, and then look into other issues. For example, the president has been dragged to court because of this. Now, the court is actually saying, and this was done by SERAP, because civil service organizations are also calling out the president and saying what he did was completely unconstitutional. Now, Social Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, filed a lawsuit against President Bola Tinubu over the suspension of the democratically elected governor, deputy governor, and members of the House of Assembly following the declaration of a state of emergency. The president had on Tuesday declared a state of emergency, as you know, and suspended the governor as well as his deputy and the House of Rep members. The suit was filed just this last Friday at the Federal High Court in Abuja. The names include the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Mr. Lateef Fagbemi, and Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas as defendants. That is the sole administrator of Rivers State now. The plaintiffs are Yira Bari Israel Nulong, Nengem Ikpomu Royal, and Gracious Eyo Sufumbuko, who are members of Sarah Volunteers Lawyers Network in Rivers State. They argue that the suspension of the elected officials is unconstitutional and violates their right to participate in the democratic process. The plaintiffs are seeking several reliefs, which includes the annulment of the suspension of the officials and the appointment of Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas as the sole administrator of Rivers State. They also seek a declaration that the president's actions are unlawful and unconstitutional under various sections of the 1999 Constitution as amended. The plaintiffs are arguing that the suspension of elected officials in Rivers State violates the constitutional rights of citizens to participate in their government. Now, Ankyo Briggs said, because she was part of those who were the elders that went to see the president. You know, the president called Panda, that is Niger Delta Elder Forum. He called them and said, you know what, I want to see you. So Ankyo Briggs, first of all, complained that the president kept them for 2 hours. When he eventually arrived, he did not apologize. That's what she said. Secondly, she said that there were a couple of conversations that were hard in agreement, where we even heard when the president said, go home and talk to your son, tell him to do the needful, respect the constitution and the rule of law, and do the bidding of the Supreme Court. That in the whole of that conversation, the president refused to mention the actors that were responsible for the political tension, which includes obviously the FCT minister. And that while they were yet to do so and compile their reports, all right, the next thing was 2 or 3 days after they heard that it's a state of emergency. And so they wondered what kind of betrayal that was. They said the president tried to act like he wanted to resolve the matter, all right, as communal members, as elders, and then all of a sudden, state of emergency. And Kibrig said she felt betrayed. She felt that the president did what you call a political bastard. The presidency has insisted that the president has done nothing wrong. He did what is right by the constitution. He needed the state to remain calm and peaceful. He needed the state to not descend into anarchy. So I don't know what the blast today will be all about. I don't know how we would describe the blast that occurred today, or the explosion that occurred today in one of the facilities. So Sarap has dragged the president to court. I don't know how useful that will be. I really don't know the efficacy of that matter or the kind of results it intends to yield. But in the course of the conversation, we'll see how it goes. All right. Now, there are reports that Fubara was locked up, tortured, and threatened to resign before Ibok Ete Ibas, that is the sole administrator, arrived at the state. Well, as it seems right now, Governor Sim Fubara has not really said anything. He has only extended a pen letter to his loyalists and supporters and residents of River State about being locked up. Yes, he in the house that day, in the government house, he wasn't allowed to step out. All right, while all of the state of emergency call was ongoing, military men were already there. They were stationed in front of the house, so he wasn't allowed to step out. But eventually, he was allowed to step out. About being tortured, about being threatened, that is what we do not know. He has not come out to allude, confirm, or deny this particular speculation out there that he was tortured, he was threatened before, he was allowed to leave, because there were talks that in the course while he was locked up in the state government house, while the president was, doing the whole nationwide broadcast, that was an opportunity where he was being threatened and mentally tortured to admit to certain conditions, which he has not come out to deny. But, these are basically what his supporters are saying. Now, in this particular regard, the question is, should Sim Fubara go to court? What court should he go to? Nigerians, critics, analysts, and those who are not in favor of this government believe that all the vital institutions have been grabbed. They've been taken over. All you need is one word from the executive, and whatever it is that you need is done. Others believe that the president has placed certain persons, all right, in the polity, that once he wants something done, it takes place. For example, the Senate president, also the Chief Justice of the Federation, and also the institution called INEC. So when you have all of these vital institutions responding to one particular person who has the sole power and authority to do as they wish, if they decide not to abide by the constitution, then you can imagine what that means, right? So, but you can never tell. So a couple of analysts are saying, you know what, Sim, if you know that you are right, if you know you have done nothing wrong, go to court, challenge the suspension. It's unconstitutional. Others say, Sim, I think it's preferable for you to stay away. Let's see how this matter will be handled in a mature way, because you will lose at both ends. In fact, it could be a situation where if they intend to bring you back before the expiration of the 6 months and you decide to go to court, do well to know that either what is going on with Natasha Akpoti, where a recall process has begun, it could be that before that 6 months, they could start off with trying to ensure that you are completely impeached. So you could come back after 6 months and impeachment proceeding commences. So some persons are advising him, you know what, stay back, okay? Enjoy your 6 months, travel out of the country, enjoy your holiday, and then in the process, resolve with others. Now, for Ankyo Briggs, one of the elders of Pandev said that while the president spoke to them to go speak with Fubara, that they tried to go to the root cause of the problem. And what is the root cause of the problem? The supposed political godfather and the political godson. These two people are the issues that is causing the tension in Rivers State. So they were trying to reach out to Nyesom Wike to see how they can resolve this thing so that he can speak with his loyalist to ensure that after SIM represents the 2025 budget, administration will commence full on and smoothly. He will not be looking over his shoulder expecting one or two things will take place. Maybe they'll start impeachment process, they'll start giving conditions and all whatnot. But they said Nyesom Wike was not even accessible. He refused to come to a table of dialogue or discussion. And it was while they were ongoing, before they could tender the notification or report to the president before the state of emergency was given. So the question is this. For the people of Rivers, a couple of persons have said, let the youths go on the street and protest. And the youths are saying, excuse me, how? Political godfather and godson, they fight. I go stay for middle. I will can't die for nothing. I did there when they make agreements. Ian neighbor, meaning that agreement is agreement. You give here, you collect here, you collect here. We were not there. I never knew anybody called Sim. I didn't even know he was a politician. I know he served under the administration of Nyesom Wike. Nyesom Wike has alluded that he bought forms for all of them, isn't it? He bought forms for all of them. There was an agreement made, whether verbal, whether written, we do not know. But the plan is, when you get there, you will supposedly do my bidding. You will supposedly be there, being the fact that I helped you to get there. We all know that Rivers was won by Labour Party. But they ensured that this particular man evolved or emerged as a winner, as a PDP member, as a winner in the state. And you recall when the heat of this thing started, the PDP members did not put their mouth inside. In fact, persons like Atiku Abubakar. It was when they saw Fubara fighting the godfather, they realized that Fubara wanted to gain independence to control and do with the state in terms of appointment and nominations and all whatnot with his discretion. That was when we now saw Atiku Abubakar show some sorts of support, and some PDP members say, okay, we are behind you, because they know how it works. They knew what was behind the scene that we do not know. So if anyone is telling the youth to carry matter and put on their head and die for politician's head, does it make any sense? But at the end of the day, how will this matter be resolved? And the important thing is the people of Rivers State, the administration of Rivers State. How will it go on from here? If they decide to ensure that governance is the priority of the state, then fine. The sole administrator should ensure that governance is a priority of the state and nothing else detracts him from it. We don't know what other political fabric and strategy is at play there, because we've seen videos and pictures of the sole administrator in good relationship with Nyesom Wike and even the president. Others feel that the grab for Rivers' soul, the grab for Rivers' resources is towards 2027. Although the presidency said it is not a power grab, it literally has nothing to do with it. It's just to ensure that there is law and order maintained. So I really don't know, for example, how this will work. I really don't know how far this intends to go. But since the court has actually been involved, civil service organizations are already on ground. They are suing the federal government. I will be playing the audio later in the course of the program. If we're having all of these reactions from several bodies, don't you think the presidency should introspect, should look into the decision they made? Maybe it was too hasty, And then the Senate, the process at which they arrived at the conclusion in supporting and endorsing the state of emergency in Rivers State is a big question. I'm sure in all of our analysis on this platform, you've been listening to different analysis and perspective on the situation. Now, another interesting political, I don't know what to call it. Will I call it a political strategy or a political quagmire or a political brigandage, is the fact that Natasha Akpoti, the court, if you remember on Friday, had blocked INEC from receiving any petition from any court or any individual for a recall process. Well, a federal high court in Lokoja, Kogi State has lifted its previous order, which prevented the Independent National Electoral Commission from processing the recall petition against Senator Natasha Akpoti Udwagan. And it was in a landmark ruling on Friday. The court affirmed that the recall process initiated by constituents of Kogi Central Senatorial District is constitutionally valid and aligns with their civic rights. It urged the constituents to exercise their rights in a peaceful and orderly manner. This development follows an earlier interim injunction granted on Thursday, which had temporarily restrained INEC from receiving, accepting, or acting on the recall petition. The injunction also barred the electoral body from conducting any referendum based on the petition until the determination of a related motion. So the injunction issued in response to an ex parte application supported by an affidavit of extreme urgency filed by Anebe Jacob Ogirima and 4 other registered voters from Kogi Central. So here is the thing. During the weekend we heard, we don't know how exactly true this is, but that the plan is to replace Natasha's seat after the recall process. If the recall process or the recall exercise becomes fruitful, all right, and become successful, that the person to take over that seat would be Yahaya Bello. How? Well, anything is possible in this country, Sha, but how? Yahaya Bello has a case to answer in court. His case is under the EFCC. I'm still waiting for the EFCC boss to resign because he told us that if this man is not prosecuted to the end, he would resign. We've not heard anything about Yahaya Bello's case. So is it possible that that's the agenda? Is it possible that that's the plan? Well, like I said, this is the era of political strategy. Natasha, in her case, was supposed to take that 6 months to either go inside, that is into her home, introspect, keep her mouth quiet, cover her head, come back to the Senate after 6 months, or before the 6 months expires, lobbies with other senators and apologizes. But no, she hasn't done that. So what has happened is Natasha now went to the international press and she's been organizing, having interviews with international media. So maybe this has also got the ox's, tail. And this time around, they're saying, okay, you know what? This woman wants to embark on this agenda. We're going to help her out. We're going to recall her. So there is a very strong possibility that before 6 months expires, Natasha may no longer be a senator because the recall process has begun. Natasha may no longer she may no longer be a senator as it stands if that recall process continues. So this is the problem. This is the situation that is ongoing at this point in time. When you try to react to the environment, when you try to break yourself out of the norm, when you try to speak out, this is basically the web that constrains you. And it takes a lot to actually stand out in whatever concept that it is you find yourself. In Natasha's case, the question now is, did she go about this thing right? Did she have her evidence? Because one of the evidences that she said she had was the fact that Goodluck Jonathan said something about her waist, that the movement of her waist or something. And a lot of people are saying, is that enough evidence for you to say that it was sexual harassment? Well, we do know that there is a connotative meaning. There is also a distinctive meaning on certain phrases on how men speak with women. So, but it could mean a number of things. So the question is, does Natasha have WhatsApp chats which indicates sexual harassment? Does she have voice notes which indicate sexual harassment? Did she record some calls made to her directly from the Senate president that were very explicit and suggestive, whereby if anybody listens to it, they would know? Does she have any recording whatsoever? Does she have a tailspin of chats that indicates threats to, if you do not concede to what I want, this is definitely what you will get. If you do not have all those things, how do you intend to defend this in court? Nobody is denying that indeed she was sexually abused. There are different ways of sexually abusing people. It may not even be physical, it may be psychological. There's what you call psychological sexual harassment. Okay, anything that makes you uncomfortable and you know what this person wants is psychologically twist you, so you become paranoid at some point. So if that is the case, then these are the things that she would need to defend. But as it stands, a recall process has begun. So meanwhile, back to Rivers, because as it stands now, we're getting updates on it. Fine Face is attributing the explosion to an equipment failure, that it is not a political unrest, and urged those speculating about ethnic tensions or sabotage being the primary cause to stop it. So as it is right now, the environmental rights activist and executive director of the Youth and Environmental Advocacy Center, Fine Face, has warned against attributing the recent explosion on the Trans-Niger Delta pipeline in Bodo-Gokana local government area, Rivers State, to the ongoing political crisis in the region. Now, it's normal for people to come to that conclusion that it is because of what is going on in Rivers that we're now having consistent explosions back to back. But in this case, he has attributed it to an equipment failure, something that has not happened in a very long while, all up until Rivers is going through this crisis it's going through. But let's hope, according to him, that's the case. He said that the Nigerian National Petroleum Company and Shell, which operate the pipeline, are responsible for maintaining the aging infrastructure. He explained that the pipelines, which have been in place for over 60 years, are increasingly prone to failure. So he noted that the lack of maintenance on these pipelines has contributed to their deterioration, making them more susceptible to explosions and spills. Explosions and spills that just happen to be occurring now that Rivers is going through this kind of political tension. So let's agree with it. He dismissed the claims that the explosion was connected to any ongoing political crisis in Rivers State, particularly threats from youths who had warned of sabotaging pipelines due to ethnic tensions. Obviously, they have to come up with something stronger, because you can't have a sole administrator of a state in a state with 10,000 soldiers in that region and you're having pipeline explosions or facilities exploding. What is the usefulness of the soldiers that they have sent there? So now that they've cleared that up, let's see that in upcoming days, whatever it is that is being done, the equipment, they will update it and do something about it. All right. So more so, President Tinubu is speaking on certain issues. For example, the case of security. And he is actually calling on the security agencies to do the needful as soon as possible. We know that certain natives have been complaining about Fulani terrorists. Fulani supposed terrorists. They call them Fulani terrorists. Some of them, we do not know their identity. So let's not just conscript them to be a particular tribe. But the spate of insecurity in certain regions across the country has become quite worrisome. You would have expected that the president addresses the chief of security officers of either the military, the navy, the army, all of them, the Air Force. You address them and tell them to expedite their action in obliterating these terrorists. Then the question now is, what about the governors that these states are going through this kind of insecurity? What is their action? What exactly is their response? The last time in Enugu State, the governor had to send other security operatives to stop the women from protesting. So you now have speculations coming up that could it be that it is the allocation that they're giving to these individuals that is making them to shut up, that they're not saying anything about it? Because you cannot continue to have such a thing and the governors of the state are mute and not addressing their people or expediting action to curtail it. It's a very big deal. So in this process, I'd like us to listen, first of all, to former President Goodluck Jonathan. He actually had quite a lot to tell us in that regard, very briefly. And afterwards, we'll listen to Omoyele Sowore, because he gave us his own input into what he considers about this whole ordeal. And then obviously we'll now continue with the conversation this evening. It's just going to be I and you and today, where we're going to be looking into this issue. So let's have a proper comprehension of these issues before we start getting your reaction on the program.
People don't even know that traditionally all over the world, former presidents hardly make statements. about what the current presidents are doing because of the tension it could create in the country. In most cases, look at America, look at everywhere. So hardly for former presidents to make, sometimes you see and you look. And of course, what is happening in Nigeria today regarding the situation in River State is like an Indian proverb that said that if somebody is sleeping, really sleeping, you can easily wake up that person. But if the person is pretending to sleep, you find it difficult to wake up that person. The key actors in Nigeria, from executive to the legislature, luckily Senator Binta and others are here, and the judiciary, they know the correct thing to do. But they are refusing to do it. They are pretending to sleep. And waking such a person is extremely difficult because the person knows the right thing. A clear abuse of offices, clear abuse of power, clear abuse of privileges, cutting across from the three arms of government, from the executive to the parliament to the judiciary. And I always plead with our people that whatever we do affects everybody. And sometimes we do things and we think that it doesn't affect us. I've been a president before, and even after leaving office as a former president, people get to me. Why is that our passport is not valued that much? Why is that Nigerians are not given the kind of treatment we're supposed to receive at the international airports? Sometimes we think it's because of Yahoo boys or 419ers. No, not only them. Yes, they are part of the problem. But whatever happens in a country, decisions that are taken by the executive arm of government, decisions that are taken by the parliament, judicial decisions affect everybody. For example, no businessman can bring his money to invest in a country where the judiciary is compromised, where a government functionary can dictate to judges what judgment they will give. No man brings his money to invest in that economy because we are taking a big risk. So whatever we do affects everybody. And if we must build a nation for our children and our grandchildren, no matter how painful it is, we must strive to do what is right. It may cost us, but we must endeavor and pay the price to insist on doing what is right. Whether you are holding an executive office as a president, a minister, or a governor, or a special advisor, or executive, whether you are holding an office in the parliament, senate, or rep, whether you're a judicial officer at the high courts or appellate courts, we must strive to do what is right. If we want to build a nation that our children will be proud of. As we engage in these discussions, let us remember that promoting social change is not a one-time event, but a continuous process. It requires a sustained commitment, collective action, and unwavering dedication to the values that promote good governance. Let us also
All right, you just listened to former President Goodluck Jonathan right there, speaking on the fact that it is important for us to synergize and harmonize and ensure that we get our country back. We hold others who should be liable to upholding the rules of engagement of our constitution and ensure that they abide by it. We do not want any constitutional rape, and we do not want any democratic sabotage. The very fabric or the foundation of this country relies on the very thing that is meant to make sure that we are all sane. It should apply to everyone regardless of your hierarchy or status. All right, that's basically the summary of what former President Goodluck Jonathan is actually saying there. Let's also listen to Omoyele Sowore about this particular situation. Expect him to be very brutal in his response, and you'll be listening to the anchor person as well there interjecting at some point. So do bear with us with that.
Was Godfathers are known for taking absolute control of the space whenever they are granted the opportunity to do so. But he's not just doing it as a godfather, he's abusing his position as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And what is interesting is that there is a conspiracy around this. All the arms of government at this point are being handled by three major godfathers. Number one is the FCT minister, who is now clearly, before Nigerians, in charge of the Nigerian judiciary. The Senate president, who also is clearly in charge of the legislative arm, and President Tinubu, who has brought in the executive. These three conspirators were both former governors, senators, and some of the people that I have described as having risen through the ranks of impunity and made it to the top. That's why Nigeria is in trouble with what they did. Don't forget, this same President Tinubu, when he was Lagos State Governor, promised the President of Nigeria then that if he declared a state of emergency in Lagos, that would be the end of democracy. He's president now, and he has done it, and he has done it with absolute power and daring the Nigerian people to challenge him or do anything about it. This is very unfortunate, but as you have seen, this might as well be the beginning of the downfall of more godfathers.
Tinubu's control
interest. What you must understand is, as a follow-up to how I stated this earlier about the three major gladiators now in the country, as in Akpabio in the Senate, Wike interested in taking over Rivers, Tinubu being firmly in control of Lagos, is that these three individuals have been former governors of Nigeria's most lucrative states. I'm talking about Rivers, Lagos, and Akwa Ibom. And what they want to do, this is all about resources, and they want to hijack and control these states and control the entire country, silence everybody who might want to have a difference of opinion, and then just move on to consolidate their total control. In some cases, and you will see more of these, criminal control of the Nigerian political and social and economic space. This is referred to as state capture. That is what you are saying.
But do you think that's the ultimate aim?
About 3 weeks ago.
Do you think that's the ultimate aim for most governors?
He did it in Lagos. The speaker was...
No, for most governors generally.
The speaker was removed.
Do you think that's the ultimate aim for most governors
every governor.
generally? No, for most governors wanted to control their...
I'm not in any way... I'm not in any way endorsing any of these governors. I have stated elsewhere, and I'll restate here, that I have no sympathy for Sim Fubara. It was his own Sim that provided the network for the Wike to carry out the impunity he carried out, the corruption he carried out in Rivers State until he left to Abuja. So they are partners in crime. But that is to say
but there are those who would
that
argue.
We do not endorse that. The Nigerian citizenship do not want governors who consolidate power, run to the Senate or run to the presidency, and then hold their state by the jugular. Don't forget that most of these former governors are already collecting, very, very crazy pension. Some of them have houses built for them. They're entitled to almost twice whatever privileges they were enjoying when they are governors. What do they want from Nigeria? Why do they want to hold Nigeria in total stranglehold? Is what we are faced with, and that is what we should be discussing, not to think about what is their taste for ice cream or kunu or suya.
No, but let me
All right, you just listened to Omoyele Shawara right there speaking on Godfatherism and saying that basically it is a precision of what you call a state capture. For Omoyele Shawara, he believes that it is the state that has been captured from the judiciary to the National Assembly, and then you also, which of obviously is a legislative process, then the judiciary as well, and the executive being and twisting this particular sensitive institutions that makes the pillar of our very democracy in this country. So for him, he believes everything that is at play is what you call a state capture, and he believes that it is deliberate ahead of 2027. Meanwhile, he also said in that broadcast that the alignment that is taking place by political actors, are they aligning to ensure that Nigerians are free? Or are they aligning for personal interests? For sure, he believes that it is again for personal interests. Because if the motive is just to unseat Tinubu, then what next? That he will continue to drag their position because he feels that to them, they are claiming to be fighting for the rights of Nigerians. They are claiming to unclutch Nigerians from the shackles of this godfatherism, of the rape of our democracy. He believes that everyone is only interested in themselves and not for having to salvage the country from the quagmire it has found himself. Is that true? Well, let's see this. Former Minister of Sports and Youth Development, Solomon Dalong, has revealed that the Social Democratic Party is currently in discussions with prominent figures, including former ministers and senators, as part of a strategy to defeat the ruling All Progressives Congress and President Bola Tinubu in the 2027 general elections. In an interview today, Dalong disclosed that these discussions involve significant political figures from around the country and across the country, but he emphasized that the need to protect their privacy at this stage. These political figures that they're all going to meet, they want to protect their identity so they are not exposed to criticism. There is a new system now where anybody who opposes this administration, any political figure who opposes this administration, when you go on social media, the supporters of this administration are on a spree to insult, denigrate, do whatever it is they can do to stifle your spirit, and it has become very excessive. It has become so bad that ethnic slurs are the order of the day. I'm telling you the truth. A particular aide of the president actually tweeted and referred to Ojinika Okwe as an IPOP lady or an IPOP girl, because they made a statement which he considered to be disrespectful and denigrating to a very senior journalist that works with Television Continental. I'm sure you know him. He's actually one of the, he's the head of news and current affairs, and he's also a major analyst there where they discuss political issues. And they feel that Ojinika Okwe and Rufai Oseni on that particular platform disrespected him. So in reaction to that, he went on his X account and tweeted and said, "This IPOP girl, who do you think you are?" Something like that. It was derogatory. Now, for IPOP, when you hear people call IPOP, it not necessarily means that, oh, they're identifying you as an indigenous people of Biafra. It's a derogatory name to seem like, as the federal government tried to term IPOP as a terrorist organization. So for those who use that term, it's meant to denigrate, it's meant to refer to an individual as a terrorist if you are from a particular ethnic group that is conscripted with that name or that is known as people from that certain region. So whether you are from Delta State or whatever, Asaba, whatever is the case, you are called that particular term. And so he meant to be derogatory in his comment. So a couple of persons are saying it means that the ethnic tension, the ethnic slurs are state-sponsored. This is the second aide working under this administration that is making such a derogatory name against an ethnic group. The first person who came out boldly to make such a statement that is working with this administration is Bayo Nanuga. You now have a second person, and they say they will continue. It's a system that they want to continue for as long as possible. So you would have expected that those working for this administration will be all about harmonization, synergy, how the president's reforms can work, how they should project the courage, the fact that they are carrying everyone along, how they should project the president as a father of all ethnic groups and all constituency, regardless of the tribe he comes from or the religion he practices. Right now, I don't think that this government representative are doing justice to the administration with what they participate in and the kind of language and the kind of things they write and post in public. You are a brand ambassador of an administration that you are working with. You are meant to represent that administration in the most beautiful, in the most embellished possible manner you can. Even if genuinely that is not how you feel, that is supposed to be your responsibility. But as it stands, that's not what it is. And it's quite unfortunate that the situation has gotten to this point. Because if we get to a situation where we don't want a repetition of what we're trying to move away from, we're trying to get out from, that occurred several years ago where I wasn't even born. A couple of us were not even born. And it's an experience that nobody wants to experience. So again, these are the issues we're looking into in our polity. Is our political atmosphere, is it not tense enough that you have certain individuals ensuring that you break whatever and destroy whatever form of connectivity we've been able to weave around ourselves ever since the Civil War? Is this the only administration that has come in whereby you experience this kind of volatility in our polity? It's a very big question for us to respond to. If anyone denigrates the person you support, is it not your responsibility to respond with all the positives and plausible motives that the administration has, rather than ensuring that you're hitting up the polity? I don't know if it's properly represented, but these are the conversations that we're looking into. For example, in the case of the situation with Natasha Akpoti and her recall, as it stands, we will not be surprised to hear from next week that Natasha is no longer a senator, because the recall process, the court has admitted it and has said the residents of Kogi State can go ahead with their recall. I saw one particular video where one of the women who representatives of Kogi Central saying that Natasha Akpoti is not representing them well, and that's the reason why they are going up with the recall process. If this is sponsored, we do not know. If this is deliberate to ensure that she doesn't come back as a senator, we do not know. But again, permutations are high. The polity is the trajectory, or the atmosphere in our polity is really rife, and we still have 2 years, or possibly 2025 and 2026 before 2027. But the conversation all over is about 2027. What about the now? There's a 30 days challenge, rant challenge ongoing, where Nigerians are explicitly expressing their discontent with this administration. How do we deal with that? That should be the focal point. That should be the conversation that we'll be having on the program. I want us to also take a very brief listen to CSOs who have eventually decided to go official with what they intend to do concerning President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the state of emergency that he imposed in Rivers State. Let's take a listen to this.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, fellow Nigerians, we unequivocally condemn President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State and the subsequent removal of the democratically elected governor, deputy governor, and members of the State House of Assembly for 6 months in the first instance, according to him. These actions constitute an executive coup against the people of Rivers State, a flagrant abuse of executive power, a violation of Nigeria's constitutional order, and an undermining of democracy. We agree that it is the prerogative of the President of Nigeria to declare a state of emergency, and that the President can exercise the legal authority to make such a declaration under specific conditions as outlined in the Constitution. However, this power is not absolute. It is subject to legislative oversight and judicial review to prevent abuse, as has happened in this instance. Contrary to the Constitution, we have witnessed abuse of power, disregard of due process, and the violation of democratic principles with the President's imposition of a state of emergency and appointment of an unconstitutional administrator in Rivers State, and the National Assembly's complicity in ratifying unconstitutionality. This is clearly a travesty on the rule of law and contrary to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We have noted that there are several constitutional violations, which include, but are not limited to: 1, abuse of presidential prerogative, Section 305 of the 1999 Constitution. While the President has the legal authority to declare a state of emergency under Section 305 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, this power is not a blank check for dictatorship. The sequence of events, including the pipeline explosions, which are now doubtful, and the impeachment proceedings against the governor, makes the call for a state of emergency suspicious. 2, unconstitutional and opaque actions of the National Assembly. Section 305(2) requires that any proclamation for a state of emergency be submitted to the National Assembly for approval within 2 days, or 10 days if the National Assembly is not in session, without which the emergency ceases to have effect. The Constitution requires 2/3 of each chamber of the National Assembly to ratify the order. This means 73 out of 109 senators and 240 out of 360 members of the House of Representatives. Yesterday, the House of Representatives approved the state of emergency by voice vote. By voice vote. While a member raised a point of order from the floor, he was silenced. In the Senate, they had a closed-door executive session. How can citizens ensure the provisions of the constitutions were followed? The presidency made matters worse by applauding the clear desecration of the Nigerian Constitution.
Do you think that Nottingham Forest?
All right, interesting, isn't it? Very, very interesting. And I would have also wondered exactly what this whole thing means for political gladiators, political actors, former governors, former ministers. They all had one voice concerning the decision of the president, despite the president insisting that he took the right calls in the decision he made. Now, Solomon Dalong is also insisting and describing the president's state of emergency as a politically motivated move which was aimed at shaping the political landscape ahead of 2027 general elections. In fact, this exclusive interview was what he made today. He made that statement today. He criticized the president's decision, went ahead to insist that all of this is the fact that the president had realized that Rivers State now belongs to Fubara, and he needed to upturn the process so that they could have a grip on it ahead of 2027. Remember that the presidency has refuted all the claims that the whole deal with Rivers is a power grab. They said, no, that's not what it is. The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria intends to ensure that order is restored to the state. Meanwhile, Fine Face, the environmentalist, is telling us that we should expect more explosions or more pipeline explosions from gas facilities. That beyond today, we should expect more of that because the equipment are so old, over 60 years. So meaning that if we hear of another explosion tomorrow, we shouldn't think that it is done by political saboteurs or it is done by militants. It is basically the fact that there is a wear and tear on the equipment in some of these gas facilities, and it's quite shocking. I say it again, it's surprising because all of a sudden you now realize that you have old and worn and torn out equipment in some of these facilities just now that we are having the situation in Rivers. I don't know how to comprehend this, but with this explosion, Fine Face has told us now that we should expect more explosions, but that when it happens, we shouldn't panic. It is not like the state is not under any form of order, because it will be surprising to experience more gas explosions by saboteurs or direct attackers when you have 10,000 military men stationed in Rivers. So obviously the question will now be, What was the effect of those military guys in rivers if you're still having explosions, if you're still having individuals attack the pipelines? So in other words, as it stands now, it's official that when we experience more blasts in that region, it has nothing to do with any personnel. It has nothing to do with any attacker. It has nothing to do with sabotage. It's just that some of the equipments are thin, are worn and very old, and they're susceptible to such explosions. So as it stands now, let's not attribute any political whatever to any other explosion that takes place in rivers until we hear a counter information from any of those involved in all of this attack. If those who are the responsible, or if those who sabotage it decide to let us know, either via social media, release a statement or a video, that they are the ones responsible for it, that it means that we should take Fine Face's word that indeed it is just the facilities wear and tear that is causing the gas explosion. Ladies and gentlemen, on the political spotlight, these are the few things we intend to look into today. I want us to cast our minds back to when former President Goodluck Jonathan was the president, and when he declared a state of emergency in 3 northern states where the governor at the time was not suspended. The loyalists of this administration believe that nobody stopped former President Goodluck Jonathan from suspending the governors, and that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu knows how to play the role of an opposition. That all he did at the time when he organized the Take Back Our Movement protest in 2012, that was the role of an opposition, and he was meant to continue with it. That if opposition do not know what to do and ensuring that their voices are heard and changing the decision of those at the executive, then they are not playing the opposition. The supporters have said President Tinubu understands Nigeria's political terrain, its peculiarity, and how crude it is, and he knows how to play it. Now he is not an opposition. He's an opposition sort of, but he's at the helm of affairs. The other time he was the opposition and he played it right. So, is he telling us, or are they telling us, that those who are opposing this administration can decide to stage a protest and call that fuel subsidy should return and call that transportation should become cheaper without any of the state facilities being hinged on them? When I mean the state facilities, including the military, the army, telling them that they are trying to commit treason and putting them all in one detention center whatsoever, in different places where nobody can locate them. A lot is being said, a lot is being looked into, but I would like to hear what you have to say concerning some of the things that have been highlighted here. It is very vehement that we prefer solutions to this. Let's just admit that they are listening to us and they want to hear what we think. Beyond the state of emergency that was imposed in Rivers State, the pulse of the nation generally is not something that is happy. Nigerians are frustrated. Nigerians are tired. What you go out to meet today is not what you go out to meet tomorrow. Living conditions have become something else. The infrastructure that the government promised us, they are expecting to see that this infrastructure will ease the economy, but it's not. So is the economy not turning up fine, or is it plunging deeper into a state of retrogression that we don't know how we'll come out of it? Is this administration involving itself, clawing itself into the very fabric of our foundation to ensure that even after 4 or 5 years, I don't know who will win 2027 elections, that they will still decide who and who will be, like they used to when they were the governors of the states? Will they continue that trajectory, that pattern at the federal level, even after their 8 years is done? Again, we do not know if the president is going to re-campaign in 2027. He has not said anything about it. But the APC administration has told us that President Tinubu till 2020, 2031. That's their hope. That's what they want. But the big question is, we have not heard the president come out to tell us that he's recampaigning. He said he wants to focus on ensuring that governance gets across to everybody. Another question we need to ask ourselves is that beyond the quagmire and rivers, where are the state governors to actually buttress the voices of the people they represent with the huge allocation they get from the federal government quarters? What about the aides of these governors, the ministers, the legislators, the constituents, representatives at the National Assembly? Are they not meant to be reverberating and buttressing the clamor and the voices and the cries of the people they're meant to represent? in as much as we want to call the president all the time. So where are we in all of this? Where are Nigerians in all of this? Where is a common man who doesn't have the connection, who doesn't have the political hierarchy to make any change whatsoever? Where do they stand in all of this? From the judiciary to the legislative and the executive? It's a very big question. How are the political makers, the political formers, those who make decisions that forms our polity, how are their policy decisions affecting the ordinary Nigerian? What benefit has it brought? How well do they even think of the people they govern? Do they even care? That's a big deal. There's a 30-day rant ongoing, and you need to hear all the stories of a lot of young Nigerians and what they're going through. How people don't eat. They're afraid to eat because they need to go out the following day. The little money they will use to buy food, they rather use it for transport. They do all forms of jobs. At the end of the day, they cannot find a profit. How 100,000 naira is literally nothing at this point in time. How bills and responsibilities are on a high, and in some instances, there are no jobs. Young girls, young boys getting into different vices that are morally decadent. How are you ensuring and how are you helping out? There are some individuals that are beginning to get 10,000 naira from the federal government. We've had testimonials that they are receiving the 10,000 naira to enable them with their jobs. Can that be extended for every other person? As it stands now, there is no average in between rich and poor. All Nigerians are within the same hierarchy right now. They're in the same caliber. They're in the same cadre. You cannot differentiate because... Hey, it's interesting. Well, I would like to hear your thoughts on the conversation this evening. The number to call is 080-3692-9933. 080-3692-9933. So, is it possible for the president to address the nation as fast as possible? How soon will the National Youth Conference be held? Because Nigerians are calling that if he cannot rule the country well, and if he will continue with the rape of the democracy and economic sabotage, it is better that he resigns or impeachment processes will commence. But with the way the National Assembly is, I don't think an impeachment process will work because the majority are in support of this administration, and that is a long stretch. So at this point in time, we'll have to make do with the president. So in the meantime, this is our way of making our voices heard, for him to listen to the plea of Nigerians and see how fast they can work in ensuring that democracy gets across to everyone, which is the dividends of democracy. All right. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Political Spotlight. How are you?
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. What's your name?
My name is Godwin.
Obim.
I'm calling from Ojol.
All right, Obim. Please go ahead.
So I really appreciate what people are doing there. I love it very well.
Thank you very much.
I love it.
Thank you.
So keep it up, yeah?
Thank you.
What I want to say, with all these things that is going on in Nigeria today, I will like us, like those human rights activists.
Okay.
Can they take this case to court? This River State issue to court? Because I remember when Donald Trump came up on board and there was making some all this policy statement here and there, they took it to court, and from there the court addressed the issue and he withdrew. I remember the WHO, he withdrew this from all these African nations. After they addressed, the thing came back. So instead of talking about all this, they should take him to court. Let court address, even our court have been bastardized. They should do that. That's what I'm trying to say.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that recommendation. Serap has already sued the federal government, not just the federal government, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to court. That was the first thing I reeled out here. Serap has dragged the president to court, saying that what he did was unconstitutional and a rape to our democracy. They mentioned the names of the plaintiffs and obviously the defendants of the case are the federal government, the president, the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, as well as the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi. These are the persons who Serap are actually suing to court concerning what transpired in Rivers State. So there's a long way to go in that. Let's see how it goes. Let's see if it will work. Hello, good evening. How are you?
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Happy Sunday.
Same to you.
The Lord is your strength.
Amen.
My name is Peter Usifu. I'm calling from Abanaje.
Okay.
My take is on the 6 months declaration of state of emergency in River State.
All right.
First of all, I want to commend the president for, having that political will and for being proactive in the declaration of emergency in River State. Secondly, I also want to commend the National Assembly, like the House of Reps and the Senate, also for being very patriotic in such confirmation. I know many people have said a lot of things concerning that declaration. From this my opening speech, we know where I belong to. So I don't want to belabor much on that. But be that as it may, I just want to let some of those armchair critics and the armchair analysts who have actually, led Fubara, that is the governor of River State, to this Waterloo. I want them to understand on what they are talking about the immunity clause. That Fubara still has that immunity clause. No. As far as the suspension is concerned, all the paraphernalia of power belonging to Fubara and his deputy have been withdrawn henceforth. So that what I'm trying to say in essence is that EFCC, in fact, is entitled to even go after Fubara at this moment, and then let him tell EFCC and Nigerians how he and the four-man so-called House Assembly were able to approve 800 billion naira and they squandered that 800 billion naira. Because it's unfortunate, all the governments will be having over years now, 8 years, at times for 4 years, none of them has been charged for more than 150 billion, or let me say 100 billion.
All right, Peter Osifo, thank you very much.
So if this man has paid that 8 years, imagine how much he would have squandered.
All right, Peter. Your take is not surprising. All right, your take is not surprising. I think throughout last week they were calling your name. They said you'll be so happy with this particular development. Hello, good evening. How are you?
Hello.
Good evening, sir. What's your name?
Hello.
I can hear you. What is your name?
My name is Michael, calling from the cotton.
All right, Michael. Please go ahead.
Good evening, my sister.
Good evening.
You see, what is happening in presidency is that President himself has settled the judges in the court.
Were you there? Wait, were you there to know that president has settled judges in court? I know they there, they there. So be saying allegedly.
Madam,
don't be stipulating.
Let me tell you something, please. Sorry. Let me tell you, because they have to increase their salary and give them houses. What do you expect the court to
be
do?
Saying allegedly. It is not stipulated. If you don't have evidence, don't be talking if you don't have evidence. So.
Now, the case in Fubara, the judiciary cannot say anything. The president himself knows that he has offended the masses. Then he cannot say anything. What will happen? As it already said to the court, there's nothing you can take to court that will judge against him.
Okay.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you very much. Have we lost so much hope in our judiciary? I think this is something that the NBA needs to look into. I was expecting to hear what the Nigerian Bar Association would say about the recent state of emergency in Rivers State and the general, will I say, dislike that the Nigerian government or the Nigerian people has towards the judiciary. The fact that nobody trusts the judicial process anymore. Nobody trusts the court system. It's a dangerous precedent that no one trusts our judicial system anymore. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
Sir, good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Yes, fine. My name is... I'm calling from my papa.
Your name is?
Can you hear me?
Yes, your name is what? All right. Please kindly call back. I did not hear you. All right. Hello. Good evening. How are you?
All right, Nicole.
Hello. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you?
I am fine, sir. Welcome to the program. What's your name?
Mr. OK.
Mr. OK. All right.
Yes, I just relax for Nigeria. But it is well.
It is well.
It's well. I want to digress a bit. In fact, the judiciary, Wike is the owner of court now. Do you remember that his man, Dan Anya, was someone Anya?
Yes.
The Supreme Court had ruled that he's authentic
secretary of the PDP.
Of PDP and his new child life. You see, these guys are just master. They are master in their game. What if you are working on TV? If you want to, where you are working now, if you want to contest anything, you will resign 3 months from the appointment. How can a man went to contest as governorship? He went for primary. He went to contest. He didn't favor you, still come back. So, you see how we do things in Nigeria? And the Supreme Court are feminists, there's no problem. You see, honestly, there's nothing we can do about this thing.
Unfortunately. Very
Nigeria
unfortunate.
will be captured in 2027. If God, the only thing that is above everybody is God. Because only God knows who will stay beyond this year or even next year. But it's too bad. Okay, now the pipeline are still they are still busting. The pipeline are still vandalized now. Is this Fubara has seen it now? They are giving flameless schools. Just name a dog and never invite them to kill it. President, I can continue. President know what it is. So they know that they thought Fubara will not implement Supreme Court judgment. That's why they're waiting for the guy. And the guy said, I will obey everything. And he has started doing it. Why can't the president call they also call the assembly? Okay, you guys should stay one place. Let prayer work on our head.
That's what Pandev said. That's what Pandev said. There was a political backstab.
This man, you carry budget, they pursue up and down. They knew that once they signed that budget, that's everything. But if it's a country where the rule of law is working, Supreme Court could have given this order now and cancel this thing. Okay, we'll give order and this man is implementing it. Why are you bringing a state of emergency? The man they put now is the weaker line. Let them collect all the money they want to collect in 2027. Only God will determine. And by God's grace, Nigeria will be great.
Amen. I like that. By God's grace, Nigeria will be great. Hello, good evening. How are you?
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, sir. I'm so sorry for keeping you.
From
all right, please go ahead.
Thank you for wasting all my data.
I'm so sorry. I had to pick it so you don't drop. Apologies, please.
No problem. Sorry, I have one question to ask.
Yes,
if
please.
You can be polite a lot to answer me.
Okay.
What is the difference between Bola Ahmed Tinubu and what he is doing in Lagos State and what Nyesom Wike is doing at Port Harcourt, River State? Is there any difference? How do you think that Tinubu can stop Wike on what he's doing to Fubara, while he himself is also guilty of something in Lagos State? I'm not even talking about Peter Osufo because of that one is already gone already. Sorry for using that word, because a man that they brought to the studio with Barrister Darlington that couldn't even talk or make a reasonable comment. That day, I wasted all my data watching him on YouTube. A wretched man that is dying.
Don't call him wretched, please.
Not allegedly. It's something that I saw.
Base your summation on the conversation, please. Do not insult or denigrate any person, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Just answer that question. Thank you. God bless you. You are doing a great work.
Thank you.
I love you.
Thank you. I sincerely do appreciate. Please, let's not denigrate anyone. Everyone is entitled to their opinion and their perception to issues in our politics. So do not insult anybody. Hello, good evening, sir. How are you?
Fine.
Well done, sir. What's your name?
My name is Mabiadu from Orile.
All right, sir. Please go ahead. How was Orile this evening?
Fine.
All right. Please go ahead, sir.
For me, that suspension, I no support.
Okay.
Yes, but for the emergency,
I
support that one.
Okay.
Even though the way our president talks, the way he talks, I see him for his voice. He talk with his destination. No be say that is come for his mind. But for me, for that suspension, make it resistant. As the one show don't put mouth. And Goodluck said don't put mouth. So that maybe reduce that suspension to 3 months.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Senate President don't talk say the 6 months now to see how they can resolve the matter. Say they feel even call them back before that 6 months go elapse. So it's expected. Hello, good evening, Dennis. How are you?
Oh.
Good evening, sir. How are you? Hello?
Thank you. I'm Mr. Chikeze calling from Ago.
All right, sir. Go ahead.
From Ago. Yeah. Please, Esther, I just want to plead to you. We always in love with your and your station, but there's one certain thing that I have been that putting me as a person. Peter Sifo, a Nigerian, or is he a Nigerian or from where? Why? I'm actually just.
Okay, you can't have everybody.
This man, I never seen.
Sir, you cannot have everybody reason the same way
about
now.
The people. Huh?
You can't have everyone have the same line of thoughts. You can't have that. All right.
In fact, it's only getting out of hand.
Sir.
Every station, people complain about people like this. Why is Peter Sifo is trying to turn himself as nothing against Nigerians? Fuck. He will see red, he will call him yellow. See Peter Sifo. So what is happening in Rivers hand? Supporting judiciary, supporting Senate. Why not him come and follow Tinubu for back now?
Well, you already know where Peter Sifo stands from the onset now. So you shouldn't be surprised. I say you already know where he stands from the onset of this thing. Last week, a lot of people even knew that he was going to be happy about it.
It's a problem of his own.
Well, he's entitled to his opinion.
Let him mind
all right, thank you very much.
He's annoying people. He's annoying people in this review.
Sorry. He's annoying you, sorry, but please
now.
He's annoying. We cannot have the same line of thoughts, all right? We can't have persons thinking the same way. Hello, good evening. How are you? Welcome to the Political Spotlight. What's your name?
Why are you doing this now? Why are you just keeping my
Hello, good evening. How are you? Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. This is Evangelist.
All right, Evangelist, please go ahead.
How are you?
I'm fine. Happy Sunday to you.
Thank you. Please, the truth is that Nigerian states, River State, have been captured by the rulers of darkness. The people today, actually, the people today, if you watch out what is playing today, they are just like trying to, make Nigeria people to be slaves. You understand? They are slaving Nigeria because of why? Because they are in secret courts. You understand? And this Peter Sifo, sorry to say this, somebody was saying last time that people, let me just put it this way. Let me just come direct. Peter Sifo, is he one of the bandits in Nigeria? I want to know. Because he's not thinking in the mindset of many Nigerians that is suffering today. Because he's biased. And this attitude is going with this way. I don't think that man may make heaven. If I get to heaven, me myself, I will plead to God to reject this man not to enter heaven. Because this man does not have the fear of God. Hello, are you with Esther?
Yes, Evangelist. I'm listening attentively to you.
So please, please, you need to repent. I know you are speaking your mind. You are speaking your mind. But remember your children unborn. Your children. Because what you are saying today, you may read it though, but you will not know. I mean, Evangelist is a man of God saying this. Please, the only way our country can be better, please, the federal government, please help me in this, the senator and the judiciary, please, they need to run away from bribe. This bribe from the wicked politicians. And I also appeal to Mr. Wike, please allow this governor to be. If not, because this money is vanity. Vanity upon vanity. Because you will never take this money to heaven. You will never take it. You will never pay. If your pastor or your priest told you that you must use money to pay taxes to heaven, it's a lie. Please let it to know now. Vanity upon vanity. Thank you, Joma, for giving Esther for giving the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Evangelist. Well done. Thank you for calling in. 08036929988 and the WhatsApp number is 0817-1756-338. 0817-1756-338. Hello, good evening. How are you?
Yeah, good evening, Esther.
Good evening, sir. What's your name?
This is Udochukwu from Jesus Village.
From Jesus Unit.
You made mention of some people calling a lady calling somebody this iPod person.
Yes.
Addressing somebody this as iPod person.
Yes.
So what I want to say in that aspect is this: that you see, the Igbo people, they are the people causing all this more or less, because as they came to this Lagos and we are building mansions in this Lagos, and that development is making the Yoruba big eye. They are envying Igbos and trying to bring whatsoever, let's say, this provocation.
I don't want to agree to that, please. We are not calling for dissent. We are not being tribalistic here. Because as well as the Igbos and any other ethnic group, they have all their businesses established. In fact, most prominent businesses in Lagos are owned by the indigenes of the state, or are owned by the Southwesterners. So you cannot specifically say it's envy or whatever. Most of the prominent banks are owned by the Yorubas. So you cannot generalize in that context and say that it's envy. Please, but you
some people
and you can condemn his action. The action of one person you should not use that to colorize an entire ethnic group.
The action of one person. The majority of them are molesting Igbos in Lagos. And that's the reason why I'm saying.
I'm just trying to remain in context here based on this information. That's why, this, when it comes to ethnicity, we have to be careful on how we discuss such conversations on platforms like this, the national radio.
Okay.
Yes, thank you very much. All right. I sincerely do appreciate your call. I mentioned that because you cannot have those working for the government being part of those who are promoting ethnic bigotry. It's wrong. It's dangerous. It's terrible. You don't set such a precedent. If you're working for the government of the day, you are a public relations activist for that government. You are a brand representation of the government, meaning that you should promote anything that is positive, anything that puts the government in good light. You should not be part of an activity that makes the government look like they are sponsoring ethnicity or ethnic slurs or ethnic division or dividing the government. No, it's a federal government of Nigeria. Nigerians can reside any part of the country. They are not isolated to stay in one particular place or the other. The indigenes are respected and valued, agreed. But on the constitution, Nigerians can live and stay anywhere. So it's not because you have a representative who is now in charge, then you will not. No, it's wrong. Promote healthily, promote the government in good light. That is your job as an aide of the government. That's basically what I'm saying in this context, as relating to an aide of the president ascribing a particular television presenter as IPOP in a derogatory manner, just because they said something about somebody that is supposedly close to you or a friend. At least it was not the president that any kind of derogatory name was called at. But well, it is what we have found ourselves today. Hello, good evening. How are you?
Television presenter.
Hello, can you turn down the volume of your radio, please? Turn it off completely. Turn it off. Hello? All right, when you do that, you can call back, please. It's quite disconcerting. I can hear myself. Hello, good evening. How are you?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir. What's your name? Hello, sir. Yes, what's your name, sir?
I said that I'm autonomous calling from the cartoon.
All right, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay, concern the issue of Fubara, I can see that this our judiciary, everything has been captured by this our president. Nothing anyone that can tell me that let everyone go to court. The court has been captured. So at the same time, I want to there is a man that called that they should probe Fubara with EFCC. I think got into this is to probe Fubara with EFCC because I couldn't understand what has he done to this extent. We suspend the state. This is a democratic government, and at the time you actually say that they should use EFCC to prove it. I don't understand.
There was a case against Fubara that the EFCC was investigating, if you remember, during the campaign, all right, in 2022, thereabout. So possibly because of Fubara's connection or relationship with Wike, that particular case was a little bit swept under the carpet. So they're asking for that case to be reopened, as well as the money that was given to Fubara last last year that he defended to just 4 members of the House. That's what's his name, Peter Osifo, is saying, that the EFCC should investigate and ask him what he did with the money. Hello, good evening. How are you?
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, my name is... I called back.
All right, please go ahead.
Knocked me out.
Please go ahead.
You see, first of all, before I go to the incident in River State,
yes,
there's something I want to advise my co-listeners and my co-callers on this VOB.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir. Go ahead.
Yes. So there is this say that said that the best answer to a fool is silence. When you keep talking about Peter Osifo is looking for an appointment and he's looking for popularity. There are kind of people that by the time they come in public place and make trouble, they will go one side and be laughing while people are killing themselves. So the idea of this guy, by the time he call on radio and put something that make his name popular, him and his girlfriend will go to a place and be taking a bottle of beer. While people are dying, they will be laughing. We should stop talking about this guy. He has mission.
You're right. You're also talking about him too for so long. You haven't told us what you want to react to.
No, I'm telling you exactly what it is. Now, Linda should stop talking about Peter Osifo.
Okay. All right.
So, when we talk about Rivers matter, a lot of people come here and talk all kinds of nonsense. But we know what the matter is. But one thing I want to promise Tinubu and Wike with Fabio is that the forces that is coming behind them, if they are not careful enough, they will be removed before 2027. It's not even within Nigeria here. There are a lot of forces that is not happy with the way they are treating the Nigerian citizens. They should be very careful, and they should be very careful.
All right, thank you very much.
I am sending a warning to them.
Okay.
Something will happen that they are going to call them unaware.
Are you threatening? Don't threaten, no. Don't threaten, no. Don't threaten anyone's safety. Hello, good evening. How are you?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. I'm so sorry for keeping you. Yes. Please go ahead.
You pay for that.
No vex.
Straight to the point. Okay, you're always your admirer. Let me just leave that one. Okay. For River State, the president's declaration in River State, honestly, in short, I don't really know what to say. But all I want River people is for them to maintain peace. I don't want any bloodshed. They should find a way. They should just find a way to resolve this thing. They should just find a way. That's just the point I want to make. They should just find a way. And please, I hate when some people come on. I'm an Igbo person, but I don't like some people giving ethnic connection. This is that. Start giving people the Yorubas are eating Igbos. Yeah. This is not a platform to do that. We don't come and create division.
Thank you.
I don't know. Your last caller was saying there are forces. Are they planning coup?
That's why I told him. I said, please, so are you threatening?
So nobody can remove what we should wait to. Yes, we don't like what is happening, but there's nothing we can do.
Abina.
27.
Thank you.
That's just it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Esther.
Thank you very much. Bye. Hello, good evening. How are you?
Esther, how you doing?
I do, Ojare. Good evening. How buddy?
Esther, I still want to comment, talk on that tribalism thing. I don't like people coming on the radio to say all these things. I don't like it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Man too.
All right. Thank you. I sincerely do appreciate you. Yes.
You remember at the beginning of this Wahala last year, So the thing really surprised me, So the thing really surprised me, I don't will tell you a lie.
All right.
Joe from Bariga anyway.
Joe, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Happy Sunday to you. All right, 08036929933. That's the number to call. And the WhatsApp number to send your messages to is 0817-175-6338. Okay. Hello. Good evening. How are you?
My name is PC Ojugu from Ojo.
All right, sir. Please go ahead.
From Ojo. My name is I want to comment about Wike
and
judiciary.
All right.
Our government has been pocketed. Our government has pocketed our judiciary, so they can't do anything in the case of Fubara. In case of Wike is working at the back in Obiabo. So Shaburu. That's why he behaving like this. People should know that. He came from Aburu. Aburu, Shaburu. That's behaving like this. So all people should notice that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for calling. I'll take one more call because I need to read out messages as our time will soon elapse. Hello, good evening. How are you?
Hello, Esther. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. What's your name?
Yeah, please, can you hear me?
I can hear you very well. That's why I asked what's your name.
Okay. What I want to say is that...
Please, what's your name, sir?
Okay, my name is Chibuzo. I'm coming from the airport.
All right, Chibuzo. Please go ahead.
Okay, you see, what I want to say is that between declaring the state of emergency in Port Harcourt, and
Hello? Hello? Chibike, please say that airport signal. Don't interrupt your call. All right, I will take one more call to compensate for the loss of that connection. Hello, good evening. How are you? Welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
This is Mama Onyeka from the country.
Mama Onyeka, happy Sunday to you, ma.
What of Darlington?
Darlington is fine. I'm sure he's listening at this moment. You'll see him tomorrow. Thank you very much, ma.
Allow them to push you and together.
Oh, hello, ma. Oh, sorry. All right, let me take some of your messages right about now. Then I'll pause on the calls, but I'll get back to it, I promise. Okay? So let's take these messages. Good evening. I want everyone to ignore those who are supporting this government. They are paid to do that. They are free to support the government. Good evening, Esther and VOP listeners. In VOP, we have three Peters. Peter Anosike, the legend. Peter Omonse, man of the people. Peter Osifo, Samuel from Ikotegbe. You should leave Peter Osifo because allow him to support anybody he wants to support. He's free to do so. All right. Good evening, Esther. I'm Philemon from Oshodi. Nigerians are tired of complaining on everything. To me, I believe it's only God that can help the country. Nigeria, I don't have much to say about our politicians. It's well by God's grace. All right. IBB said the reason why he annulled the June 12 election was to save Nigeria from collapse. Those who rigged 2023 was that they did they do that to save Nigeria from collapse? Please, I want to ask, is Nigeria better than it was more than 30 something years ago after the annulment of June 12? Is Nigeria better than it was after 2023 election? This is because injustice still prevails. Tinubu thought he is the only one that knows how to play the devil's advocate by trying to play it in Rivers State where there is many devil. Today, almost all the gas pipelines are old and are suffering from wear and tear and are exploding like bombs gradually. Chemery from Agbara. Well done, Chemery. Thank you for your message. Good evening, Esther. Please, I want to remind us what this president told the former president Goodluck Jonathan in 2013 when Jonathan declared a state of emergency in Borno, Yobe and Adamawa states. Now, President Tinubu described it as an overreach of federal power. Then, leader of opposition, he condemned the emergency. President Jonathan did not dismantle the elected officials, but the governor none, the structures none. In a personal statement titled Jonathan, Barrister Fangs, Tinubu described the move as an attempt to subvert constitutional democracy. Chikezie from Ago. Well done, Chikezie. Good evening, Esther. The fact is the government is only concerned about themselves. They don't care about the masses. Shegun from Alagbado. Esther, my friend, good evening. I am Jerry from Iba. My take on this: Nigeria is in a serious siege. Our judiciary is in the pocket of the APC. Police, army are all inside the APC's pocket. On the issue of Senator Natasha's sexual harassment against Senate President, what has Nigeria court done to resolve the issue? Esther, I need your contact, please. Okay, I will send you that after the program. Good evening, Esther. My name is Davidenko. Everything in Nigeria has been murdered by APC, Akpabio, Tinubu, and the judiciary. Peter Osifo no go see heaven. No. You guys, stop giving Peter Osifo ambience. Good evening, Esther. I want to ask, are we in a democracy or autocracy or feudalism? I think it's both. We're in an autocratic democratic society, so I think you can call it both. In the absence of the rule of law, impunity and chaos abounds for the state of emergency of Rivers. Your president didn't do it in the north, where bandits and Boko Haram are having their way. But as he declared it in a peaceful state, in NSAS time, there was no state of emergency in any part of the country. Then you see this is scripted. Even the Senate voted for it. You can see Wike and his Oga Tinubu has similar character traits. Snatch it, grab it, run away with it. Birds of the same feather flock together. How will there be peace without justice? It's a shame the worst of us is ruling the best of us. Truly, there was a country. All right, well done. Thank you for your message. Esther, I am sorry to say, but I think it is time we will protest against Peter to stop calling VOP because the old man is really getting on our nerves. This is not a matter of him speaking his mind or whenever. Please, he's provoking thousands of Nigerians out there. If he keeps calling, then many Nigerians will stop calling because of one. Thank you very much. I think I get your message. Good evening, Esther. Nigeria is in a serious problem. The only way out for Nigerians is to look for the girl that gave Abacha apple. She should come and help us out. Before 2027 election, she should help us visit 4 set of people in this country. That's my own contribution for now. Kingsley from Egbeda. Kingsley, I don't want to imagine what you're imagining, but I think all those people you mentioned will be very, very careful. Trust me, they'll be very, very careful and they'll be very well protected. Good evening, my beautiful Esther Wachu. Thank you very much. You're really doing a great job, my dear. Please, Esther, it's only in Nigeria that millions of people will go out to cast their vote and 4 people will sit down to decide the decision of millions of people that have made their choice. There was a country. How on earth will a single individual in the name of a president suspend a democratically elected governor of a state? It's a pity and it can only be possible in Nigeria. I swear to God. KK Gold from Mafuluko Oshodi. Well done, KK Gold. Good evening, Esther. Please do not give this one is warning me. Mary from Okafa. Esther, you're doing a good job. Thank you very much. Please leave Peter and make your own point. Maybe he's paid to do what he is doing. I have left him. It's you. It's the callers who keep on speaking about him. I want to encourage good-minded people of Nigeria and people of Rivers State to reject Godfatherism so as to stop it at any other state where it's being practiced. A former governor must hands off from the activities of the state and allow an elected governor to take charge of the state, not minding any agreement. That agreement cannot supersede the people of the state. Please, how much is given to this new administrator compared to the amount given to Fubara for the time he spent there? We don't know, but the court has said that all the monies that was paused should be released to him. So we don't know. Maybe it's 800 billion as well. All right. Good evening, Esther. The man. Okay. See, you guys keep speaking on here about him. Wike purchasing for all the forms of legislative members loyal to him. In Wike himself boasted about it. In a decent society, he would have been arrested because of such revelation. Emeka from Abison Estate. Emeka, all right. Thank you very much. You're referring to the corruption of Wike. I'm highly disappointed in Tinubu's administration because its ruling so far was nothing to write home about. There is a difference between comrade and com and raid. Comradeship is an act of speaking truth to power, and I respect real comrade when I see one. Leave Peter Osifo alone. He is calm and raid person. Comrade always. Well done, comrade. Thank you for your message. Esther Wachiko, my dear, I greet you peacefully. I greet you peacefully too. On River State of Emergency, for me, I want to say that the National Assembly members ratified illegality. I wasn't there to know what had transpired underground allegedly, but I may not be wrong to say that the endorsement of the emergency rule by the National Assembly was highly dollarized. This 10th National Assembly, as led by Senator Akpabio as chairman, is the worst National Assembly in Nigeria's history. The president clearly took sides with Wike. Otherwise, he would have also removed him as minister because Wike was also a major party and he was highly instrumental. Esther, in case you don't know, people are also complaining about Peter in all the radio stations. Please take care of yourself for me. I like the way you pronounce house names. Did you grow up in the north? Yes, I did my secondary school in the north. So I would just say that part of my teenage years were basically in the north. Thank you very much. Good evening, Esther Wachiko. My name is Prince Samuel Ofobisi Oji from Ajegunle, Papa, Lagos. Please, Esther, do you think we have democracy in Nigeria? If yes, you are wrong. Where is the check and balances? I will for this country. May God help us. Good evening, Esther. Trace Joe from Ijiri. Fubara should learn his lesson now. Don't bite the hand that fed you. Can somebody tell me what Fubara have done to his state since he resumed office? Who will call him again as father to son? Good evening, Esther. Please, I need your number. AO from Ayobo. All right, I will send that after the program. Happy Sunday to all VOP members, as well as Peter Osifo has a right to say his opinions. All I know is that we should keep on praying on one day to God will rescue us. Ikemefuna John from Ojekole Ladipo Mushi. All right. Hello, Esther. This is Izilo Umbuku from Trade Fair. Tinubu is destroying Nigeria with Wiki and Akpabio. Peter Osifo is becoming notorious. Okay, a call for military takeover in Rivers State is a call for military takeover in Nigeria. We're gradually getting there. Christian from Shasha. Good evening, Esther. APC has nothing good for Nigeria. It's full of criminals. Ibuka from Agor. Esther, please leave Peter Osifo. I have done that. I need your number. Okay, after the program, I will send it. Good evening, Esther Wachuku. Former President Goodluck Jonathan spoke well in his speech as a true Democrat and once a true leader with sense of wisdom and reasoning. Soft touch from Idimu. Well done, soft touch. Hi, Madam Esther. Good evening. Happy Sunday to you. As for the declaration of the state of emergency in Rivers State, I think that though the president may not be completely correct going by the constitution, but methinks that the president did what was politically correct under the then prevailing circumstance, and then juxtaposing the issue on ground with the threats by certain people and the militants in Rivers State, although the president's decision wasn't devoid of a hasty approach. Also, the recent bombings in the same Rivers State, in my own view, though it seems there hasn't been comprehensive investigations, I want to think it may not be unconnected with the initial threats, although I have no proof to buttress my suspicion. Meanwhile, on the way out for the suspended governor, it may be more of a political resolution, and by so doing, Fubara may also have to kowtow and eat the humble pie by doing the biddings of his erstwhile political godfather, Mr. Wiki. Let's not forget that whoever must come to equity must come with clean hands. Fubara has dined and wined with Wiki, and it's not enough having a very long spoon in order to eat with the devil. For those thinking of going to court to challenge the federal government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for me, it may end as exercise in futility. As for Natasha, until she provides evidence to support her sexual allegations against Senate President Akpabio, for me, she's a blatant liar. And for Yahaya Bello taking over Natasha's seat, I don't think whoever takes over, if she's recalled, will get the seat on the platform of gold or a la carte without going through by-election. Esther, God bless you, and a few Indibo who have spoken intelligently here against ethnic connotations, bashing and hatred against the generality of Yorubas on this platform. Wishing you a very blessed and fruitful week ahead. St. Vikate from Ikotu. Are you sure your name is St. Vikate? You don't want me to call your real name? All right, well done. I don't think anybody was generally, I think they were just reacting to the president's aide who made a derogatory statement to a presenter. Esther, please, can you stop your listeners from attacking Mr. Osifo anytime he airs his views? I have done that. This man is an icon for always seeing things from different perspectives. Only sheep and goats blindly follow the lead goat. Our people, especially Igbos, sheepishly follow unqualified leaders like Nnamdi Kanu, Mazi Oke Ifedi. All right, Mazi, well done. Good morning, Esther. Wow, it's evening here. How did the federal government arrive at the conclusion that the governor ordered the destruction of the oil pipeline? The way these characters display their bias is unimaginable. The president did not see the efforts of the governor in obeying the Supreme Court judgment. The game plan is to get the governor out of the way so that Wiki's nominee will conduct local government elections. Esther, this message long ago. When you intentionally increase the judge's salary by 300% and you build houses for the judges in Abuja just because you want judgment to favor only APC and they consent to it, is that not cash and carry transactional by compromising institutions because of 2027 elections gain, like they say? He that plays a piper dictates a tune. This is what your president and Wike has done. Is our president, not mine alone. Good evening, Esther. I am Adeoye Sunday from Ayobo. Please, last week we heard about one certain man from Ebonyi State, a full strong supporter of this present government, cursing the day he was born when he lost his son at a hospital due to lack of one important life-saving machine which cost just $2,000 but not available. Oh well. Esther, how long will it take for this evil the government calls it? Esther, I join those that are crushing on you. Uchechuku Acolyte from Ejimo. Thank you very much, Uchechuku. Good evening, Esther. Tell Tinubu that God is on the throne. I beg, how old is Wiki? 80 years. I'm Izzy Lo Mbuku from Trade Fair. Well done. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to come to a wrap of the conversation this evening on the Political Spotlight. I think I was able to cover all the messages and take most of your calls. I sincerely do appreciate your input. My name is Esther Machuku. Do have yourself a blessed, wonderful evening. Follow me on YouTube on at ESTIQMEDIA. That's Estic Media. Estic Media on YouTube. All right. And on Instagram is at Esther Nwaz, ESTANWAZ. On Facebook is at Esther Machuku. Do have yourself an amazing evening. Bye for now.